Hi everyone, today we're going to be making espresso chocolate chip sourdough. So the first thing I have to do is I think it's 330 grams of pretty hot water. It's not real hot, but it's very warm. And I have this espresso powder that I'll be using. And I'm just going to put one. I use approximately 4.5 to 5 tablespoons. And yes, I did say tablespoons of the espresso powder. Oh, I forgot to get my thing out. Sorry, I have dogs. Stella, no bark. So now I'm just going to mix this. I mean, if you don't have one of these, you can just use a spoon or whatever. You just need to get it mixed together. So there we go. Now we have espresso. So I'm going to bring my bowl over, turn my scale on. And this is Lucy, my sourdough starter. I fed her with wheat flour yesterday instead of bread flour. So that's why she looks a little brown, but she's good. So we're going to do 150 grams. So I need to clean my jar. I'll put her in a clean jar today. This jar was clean the other day when I put her in to warm her up to make my regular sourdough loaf. Just dryness. Whoop. There we go. All right. Aren't these cute? Okay, so I got my 150 grams of starter in here. And we'll zero that out. And we're going to start with 300 grams of the coffee, the espresso. And I'll pull back a little bit. Oh, 305, close enough. And then we're going to add some maple syrup for sweetness. We're going to do 25 grams of maple syrup. Oh, spot on. Did good with that. So you take it off your scale. And this whisk is the best thing ever. So easy to clean, so easy to use. So we're just going to mix this together a little bit. Sorry if you hear my dogs a lot today. It is very windy outside, and my old girl just does not like the wind. And so you'll hear her little toes tapping all around. She gets a little stressed when it's windy out. But you know, this is real life. I have dogs. So once you get that mixed up pretty good, we're going to put it back on our scale. You can zero that out. And you're going to put in 500 grams of bread flour. I just filled this, so. And I used a King Arthur bread flour. Oh. There you go. Push that to the side. And we're going to do, this is the salt that I use. We're going to do 12 grams. 14, a little over, but it's fine. So now you're going to get this all mixed up. And I'm going to let it sit for an hour. I'll cover it with a towel and let it sit for an hour. And then when I come back to do my first set of stretch and folds, I will be adding my chocolate chips because sometimes my dough only takes 3 stretch and folds. And I want to make sure those chocolate chips are mixed in pretty well. And I'm not going to give a measurement on the chocolate chip, guys. You just got to measure that with your heart. I mean, that's the way that's supposed to work. It's chocolate chips. So this might need a little bit more espresso. We'll see. Try to get it mixed in here. With the temperatures changing, my measurements change as well, which is the way sourdough works. It's got to go by looks and feel. I think my old girl's finally going to go lay down in her bed. Maybe she'll settle down now. You know what I mean? Get in here. I mean, you can go in with your hands if you want. I prefer to use this. Totally up to you what you do there. I just prefer that. And as this sits, it will get a, you know, like a little wet. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to, I'm gonna have to add a little bit more of this espresso. Let me put it back on the scale so I can get an exact measurement on it. Excuse me. I added another 15 grams. You don't want to add too much because then your dough will get too wet. You want to make sure you get it all mixed in really well. There we go. Make sure you scrape down the sides of your bowl as you go. Yeah, see, it's getting all the dry bits out now. That's probably the perfect amount. So she's looking pretty good now. There we go. That looks much better. So of course now we have this shaggy dough. Okay, so that's what she's looking like. So I'm going to put a towel over her and leave her set for 1 hour. I'll have to set a timer, and I'll get my mess cleaned up, and then we'll come back and add some chocolate chips and do some stretch and folds and add some chocolate chips, and then we'll do 3 to 6 whatever stretch and folds your dough might need, and then we'll put it in the fridge for the night. Okay, the timer just went off, so we're going to see what we got. I am going to do a couple of stretch and folds before I actually add the chocolate chips, just to make sure we're all mixed up. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, these are the chocolate chips I'm using. This is just what I have on hand. So just use whatever you have on hand, whatever you like. I'm using semi-sweet. And you can use milk chocolate if you want, dark chocolate, whatever your preference is. And like I said, with these, we're just going to measure with our heart. And I do have another bag, so in case I run out, because there's not very much in here. It's from the last time I made this. This is very good. But this is why you want to do it in your first set of stretch and folds, so you can make sure it gets mixed in really well. I know some people don't do that. They do it in their second and third set of stretch and folds, but by the time usually by the time I get to my third set of stretch and folds, my dough is done being stretch and folded. It just wants to sit and bulk ferment. So that's it, looking pretty stiff right now. So that's about all we're going to do right now. So I'm just going to cover it back up with my towel, give my hands a good wash, and we'll set the timer for another hour, and we'll come back and add some more chocolate chips and do some more stretch and folds. Okay, so the timer went off. This is going to be the second set of stretch and folds. I really don't know if I'll be videoing any more of these or not. I mean, this is just the basics. I will show you what it looks like after it bulk ferments. So, whoops, dropped it right on in there. So I'm just going to add some more chocolate chips, finish off this bag. But like I said, measure with your heart. If you don't want that much, then you don't need to use that much. But this dough is more like ready for some coil folds, so I think that's what we'll go with. It doesn't act like it wants to do any stretch and folds, so we'll just do some coil folds. You know, kind of like push these down. Sorry, my dog decided it was time to drink some water. So just kind of push these into your dough. Yeah, this dough is pretty good. It's acting. So just make sure you get it pushed into your dough. Stella, please. I guess she's really thirsty. Sorry about that. There we go. Now she's done. But just make sure you get them pushed into your dough, because you want them kind of mixed all in there. Then when you bake it, they get a little melty and gooey. I have made this before, and the first time it came out pretty well. So we'll see what it looks like this time. Okay, so there's that. Of course, you got messy hands afterwards. So I'm just going to leave it sit. I'm probably just going to do one more, probably coil folds more so than stretch and folds, because that's what the dough acts like it needs. You'll just have to try to read your dough and do what you think is best for your dough, because like I said, different areas of the country, of the world actually, depending on where you're watching from, has different humidity levels and temperatures, and all of that affects sourdough. Okay, we're going to get ready to shake this and get it ready to go into the fridge. So I have a little bit of rice flour I'm going to put out here on my counter. I did check this earlier and did some coil folds on it. There you go. So let's get this all stretched out. Seems a bit stiff. But look at all those chocolate chips in there. Let's hope they stay in the dough. Now, the last time I made this, I did the inclusions a little bit differently. And I didn't like that all the chocolate chips are kind of bunched in the same area instead of being throughout the bread. So that's why I did it this way this time. So we'll see all the chocolate chips sticking out, but this will be the top when we put it in the oven. So I'm not going to do too much more to it because I don't want them all poking through. I will, however, be using my towel in my Bannington instead of the regular cover that comes with it, because in case these melt a little bit or something, I don't want it to be a mess. Put some rice flour in there. And I'm just going to flip her over. And honestly, guys, I'm not too picky about how this looks. This is just going to be the bottom of the bread. I don't know anybody who looks at the bottom of the bread. And it tends to split open anyway, even if I do pinch it closed. I just want to make sure that the chocolate chips are in there. And you could use, any kind of chocolate chips you like. Could have even used mini in these if you like. So we're just going to put a little bit of rice flour on the top. And I'm just going to wrap this over it and put it in the fridge just like this. I might put plastic wrap over it just to make sure nothing spills on top of it. And then I will leave it in there until tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow morning I'll get to bake it. I do have an appointment tomorrow, so we'll just have to see what happens in the morning. But I'm hoping to bake it in the morning before I leave for my appointment. That way it can cool off while I'm gone and I can have a nice snack when I get back. But, we'll just wait and see. Okay, so I'm back from my appointment. And my bread, I baked it this morning. Wasn't sure if I was going to have enough time or not, but I got it baked this morning, so it's nice and cool now. And I went ahead and cut it in half because I can't use this knife to do that. I use a different knife, and it can be a little rough. So this is what she's looking like. Look at all that chocolate. It looks so good. All right, and then we're going to cut a piece and give it a taste. Got my dog sitting here, but they can't have this because it's got chocolate and coffee in it. So you might hear them whining. I do have regular sour bread I will be giving them, but they can't have this. So let's give this a taste. Oops, dropped the chocolate chip. As long as it doesn't go on the floor, I don't want the dogs to get it. But yes, it's very good, very moist. I think my husband will enjoy having this as his breakfast.